Greetings, Wildcat fans. I'm Marvin James, and this is the Fort Valley State University football show featuring head coach Don Pittman. We're here in the second season, and we're going to talk a little bit about the first two games of the season so far before we get into the action of last Saturday's contest, which was a big game with Lane. Coach, talk to me a little bit about the first two games. What can we assess so far in this young season?
Well, we played Delta State the first game and Lane the second game, and both teams had some very potent offenses. And you can tell by the number of points and yardage they put up for both games. We had a problem stopping Lane and Delta State quarterback on the read zone. So that's what we're focusing on right now. That's going to be one of the plays we're going to make sure that we're able to stop, because I'm quite sure that our opponents would use it again against us.
Okay. One of the things that we can talk about in this brief season so far, we have a couple top 10 places in the conference right now. We have time of possession, which is always a big one. We talk about our passing offense and total offense. And scoring is also really big. That 50 spot didn't hurt us on Saturday.
Not at all. It's always great to hang 50. Been a long time since we scored 50 points. Mm-hmm. But usually that's our slogan, hang 50, and that's what we work towards every year. So far as possessing the ball and keeping away from our opponent, we possessed the ball quite a bit against Delta State, even though we wasn't successful in winning the game. But I was very happy that we was able to have a ground game and a passing game and keep our defense off the field.
Okay, individually, let's talk about a couple of players that are actually producing well on the field right now. Otis Brown, which is no surprise. But talk about the tandem of Javon Bell and Draylon Freeman. How is that working out for him?
And I think the sky is the limit with those two. I think they'll get better every game, because Draylon is this type of guy. Whenever there's some competition, he's going to raise his game and work even harder. So he look at it as a challenge, and even more so as a challenge, because we move him from Z receiver, which is receiver that get the ball the most, and we move him to X. And he just took it upon him as being a challenge. And he always saying he's open like most good receivers.
Of course.
I'm open, every play. And the quarterbacks have to say, I'm coming to you. But he's a big playmaker. He's a guy who can go down the field and get 60 yards for you.
And another player that is no stranger to Fort Valley State and making a return after a couple years off, Travis Richmond, who's right here from Peach County, went to Peach County High School. Talk a little bit about what Sparky is doing, not only in the rushing game, in the receiving game, but also in special teams. He's been handling the ball quite well back there.
Travis is a well-rounded player. He can play every position there is on the field, including deep snapping. He can deep snap. Wow. He can go and he can block the punts or field goals. We didn't use him in that capacity because we didn't want him to get injured, but he's the type of guy who can do it all. And as you can see also, he's the best accurate passer on our team also. So we can use him in a variety of positions and doing different jobs for us.
Okay, and lastly, before we take a break, talk about, I guess, the transition from morning practices to afternoon practices. Have you seen a big difference in that and the team chemistry?
Yes, the young men are enjoying the afternoon practices. The only thing is that we do have key players that miss practice, but we're just going to have to learn how to roll with it, and they seem to be more fresh, and it's working out for us.
Okay, and the morning practices we used to have, what was that, from 5 to 7 or 5 to 9?
Yeah, 5:30 to 8, and they was very tired.
Okay, all right. Well, as we transition through the rest of the season, we're going to talk about more from Fort Valley State, and especially last week's exciting ball game. Stay with us.
You've defended our country, fought to safeguard our dreams. Now it's time for you to pursue your dreams. Fort Valley State University is a designated military-friendly school providing specialized services for soldier scholars, including a dedicated support staff and fee waivers to qualified applicants. Choose a military-friendly school to turn your dream to reality. Apply to Fort Valley State University today. Learn more at fvsu.edu.
Fort Valley State U.
Wildcat football. Are you ready?
Welcome back, Wildcat fans, to the Fort Valley State University Coaches Show featuring head coach Don Pittman. And we're here to talk about last week's game. If you missed it, you missed a treat. It was a great game, a game of two halves. As Coach and I were talking about the big game with Lane College, it was the season opener, home opener for Fort Valley State. Coach, let's talk about that game starting off at halftime. Let's fast forward a little bit to halftime. 24-7. We actually got the first score, 58-yard run from Travis Richmond, Peach County's, the Peach County Trojan. Let's talk a little bit about what went into the locker room at halftime.
Well, you know, we was behind, and just like football is like life. It's a learning experience, and I think that we learned quite a bit from the first game, Delta State. When we got behind Delta State game, the players got frustrated, you know, and was dropping their helmets along with their heads, and we ended up losing the game. And we talked about it, and it seemed to have worked because we went in behind, and we talked about being everybody should encourage each other, and that we still had an opportunity to get back in the game. And I told them that if we could score 2 touchdowns, we'd be back in the game the third quarter, and we'd have a chance to win in it. And as you know, when we went back at halftime, Lane ended up scoring 2 touchdowns. And we still didn't drop our heads. Everybody was encouraging each other. And all of a sudden, the momentum changed, and we started to score touchdowns. And the defense stopped them. And that made a big, big difference, along with blocking their punt. And Stephon Hopper picked it up and scored. And Freeman returned a punt back. And the whole momentum changed with that punt return.
And talk about just the whole philosophy of having to go in there and do that. We know when you're coaches, you have to say the right thing to get the guys to be motivated and come back around. But I mean, after the week 1 loss, you know, it's hard to get the guys motivated to do that. What exactly, you know, you obviously have to believe that when you say that to these guys.
Oh yes, we have a young coaching staff, and my whole point was that we was going to continue coaching no matter what the situation is, and that we was going to encourage ourselves and the players to be positive. And everybody came out with a positive attitude, and they came out with the idea that they was going to fight and fight to the end.
Okay. Well, I want to give props to that young man. Let me look his name up right here. Devontae West came in through with the big block on that field goal that sparked the whole where you guys were able to take back the lead.
Yes.
I can't remember if it was by 2 points at that point, but Stephon Harper did return that block field goal back, and it was electric. It definitely was a great atmosphere at the stadium at that point.
Yeah, you know, in football games, it's like a roller coaster. It's like life. You have your ups and downs. After we was high on that score,
Yes, sir.
and they came back and had a long drive, and they scored, took the lead back. But the offense responded. You know, they went out with the attitude that we was going to score and we was going to win the game, and that made the big difference. And the vital point that I have to make is that we have been working on certain plays all week, and when you do plays that the young men like, they remember them and they want to use them. So Travis had came to me earlier and said, let's do sniper. That's that play that we winning touchdown on. I said, it's too early and we're not in the correct field position. We had to be at least inside the 30. So we did get inside the 30 for that last scoring drive, and I called timeout to make sure we had the correct personnel out there. And Coach DeGray said, no, they're going to blitz us. Don't do it. And I said, Travis, what you think? Let's run sniper. So we went out there. And last thing I saw was 2 people around Travis. And he just has so much heart, and he's a big playmaker, that he threw the buck pass, and then Bell made a great catch.
Yes, he did.
It was too high, but Bell went up, made the catch. That was the game.
That's right. It was a great touchdown right there in the corner of the end zone, right by the scoreboard. Like I said, the fans were electric, and they had a reason to be. It was just an exciting turn of events. Now let's talk about the breakdown of the game. and these are some things that you obviously want to correct this week. We talked earlier about the rushing yards. We were outrushed almost 2.5 to 1. Lane had 435 yards on the ground. That's a little bit too much, don't you think, Coach?
Yes, it is, and you shouldn't win the game when it's that way. And that quarterback had over 200 yards rushing, and that's been our weakness, stopping the quarterback who can run. But the amazing part about the stats is the third quarter is what made the difference, and they had the ball 11 minutes 48 seconds, and we had the ball 3 minutes and 48 seconds, and we scored more points.
Right.
And that's when we took the lead in the third quarter. So that's amazing the way it happens, because if you look at the time possession, it shouldn't be that way.
Right.
But it happened off of big plays, and that's what big plays do for you.
Now, the one thing about the quarterback for Lane, not to take anything away from him, he had kind of a sneaky speed with him, and kind of a smooth run and transition. Do you think it's more what the defense is adjusting to reading the ball rather than not being able to just handle that athletically?
I think that what it boiled down to, where we had our wheel linebacker and defensive tackle not making a play.
Okay.
They wasn't in. You have to have gap control, especially against a quarterback like him.
Right.
Because he would get outside the defensive ends on passes and make yards. They could not contain him. And on the zone read, the C gap was always open, and he would take it and have a big play.
Now, another point in this game, I know you aren't going to be exactly happy with the penalties. Fort Valley State was penalized 164 yards. Lane had 128 yards, so it was a lot of laundry on the ground.
Yes, and we can't have those penalties. We've been talking about improving our discipline and playing with poise. And when you get in big games like that, like we was in, we cannot afford to give up penalties. And that's what happened on those drives to keep the chains moving for them. Our defenders would hit late and get frustrated, and that led to a first down after first down.
13 carries for 78 yards, 2 touchdowns. Quarterback Otis Brown. Just talk about his development over the past couple of years and the leadership that this guy poses. Late down the stretch, he never gets rattled. He always wants the ball, and he's able to really lead that group to do some very positive and successful things.
Otis is a playmaker, and we saw that in high school. When we was recruiting him. He's a dynamic player. And we wasn't fortunate enough to get him the first time he went to junior college. Then he decided to transfer. And he's been making plays since he's been here. And the thing that I'm concerned about him is we don't like to run the quarterback over 11 times. Mostly everybody don't like the quarterback to run over 11 times, because he's getting tackled, and you can't expect for him to be able to pass the ball. So that's when we're going to have to mix it up with Edie's son when he do get winded. To put him in. But once again, we have to play that by ear, because Otis is the type of guy that can come off the bench and make plays. I don't know if Edie can come off the bench and make plays. I think he needs to be playing, but we'll just try to limit Otis carries and not let him get over 11 carries a game.
Okay. Down 25 points, Coach. Anytime in your career have you been in that situation and be able to come back and win by 2 scores?
In my experience, that's the first time it ever happened to me.
Okay.
I haven't seen it, and I don't know about the history of Fort Valley, but I don't think it happened here before. I know that all the fans will be able to tell me, because they was telling me going into the locker room at halftime, it's been 1961 since we lost against Lane, So they know all the stats and all the wins and all of that. So I asked one of them if they ever had a bigger comeback.
Yeah, okay. And lastly, before we take a break, it was a big win, but it was also a big conference win. And talk about how that goes in actually playing your first conference win. You want to get that 1-0 in the win column. How does that go going forward?
It was very big, and Lane is a better team than most people thought they was. And I think that win gave us confidence in going against Clark, Every game's going to be tough, but right now we have confidence that we can play and hang in there. But we don't need any more comebacks. We need to put a good half as well as a second half together.
Okay, all right. Congratulations, Coach. That win is in the rear view. We're all looking on forward to next week. We'll be back with more to talk about next week's big matchup. Stay with us.
A dream never dies. It lives within you, waiting to be realized. If you've postponed your dream of a college education or want to learn new career skills, Fort Valley State University offers affordable education programs designed for busy adults. Take courses on campus or online with flexible schedules to accommodate your lifestyle. Turn dreaming into doing at Fort Valley State University. Learn more at FVSU.edu.
Fort Valley State U.
Wildcat football. Are you ready?
Welcome back, Wildcat fans. We're sitting here with Coach James Glover, linebackers coach for the Fort Valley State Wildcats. Coach, talk to us a little bit about the state of the defense a little bit, especially with the meat of the core, the linebacking unit.
Well, the state of the defense, we have to do a lot better.
Okay.
We need to be able to control the offense. We have our linebacker, Leon McQuaker.
Okay.
He's our top leading tackler and assist man. Also, we have Ryan Bowman, Fort Valley kid, and we have Justin Wright and Stephon Harper. And we play a good team ball as far as sharing the load. We're a small group of linebackers, but they're hungry and they work hard.
That's right. They're able to play sideline to sideline and doing so many special things. Obviously, we talk about on special teams what Harp was able to do in scooping and scoring that block kick on field goal. I saw that Richmond had his hands on it, but number 11 was just as fast motoring down the sideline. So you got to appreciate that speed that you have at that unit.
I love it, and we work on that a lot as far as scooping the ball. It's something that it just don't come natural. You can't take it for granted. And he did a technique just like he was taught, and we worked on, and he was able to just go full speed from that point on.
Okay. Talk about, I guess, what are in the works for practice this week, I guess, to improve on the run defense.
Well, we have to do a lot better on our exchange. And once we get our read right on that, I think it will elevate the defense this week a lot further than what it was the past 2 weeks.
Okay. Now, during the practice weeks, we were talking about earlier that you guys have transitioned from the morning practice to the afternoon practices. A lot of times in that leadership on defense, it's the linebackers that do a lot more of the barking and a lot more of the leading by example. You lost a great one in Fur last year, but talk about the leadership role that has been assumed this year.
The leadership role, all of them is accepting the leadership role as far as being responsible and what we need to accomplish. And I'm happy with their progress at this time. I know we can do a lot better. Leon McQuaker again, he's all over the field. So is Harper and Bowman. So we just have to play as a group and keep believing in each other and working hard towards our goal. And that's, you can't score, you can't win.
That's right. That's right. And if you hang 50, everything is good, right, Coach?
Right.
Good.
That's exactly right.
And Coach James Glover, the linebacking coach for Dirty Blue, as they call the new defense. Stay with us.
Wildcat football. Are you ready?
A dream never dies. It lives within you, waiting to be realized. If you've postponed your dream of a college education or want to learn new career skills, Fort Valley State University offers affordable education programs designed for busy adults. Take courses on campus or online with flexible schedules to accommodate your lifestyle. Turn dreaming into doing at Fort Valley State University. Learn more at FVSU.edu.
Fort Valley State U.
Welcome back, Wildcat fans. This is the Fort Valley State University Coaches Show featuring head coach Don Pittman, but we have a special treat for you today right now as we go to a interview segment with our interim president of Fort Valley State University, Dr. Jessica Bailey. How are you doing, ma'am?
Fine, just fine. Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you for having me and welcome to the show. We're going to talk a little bit about the state of enrollment right here for Fort Valley. What can you speak to us about that?
Well, the enrollment for fall of 2015 is actually very, very good. We set enrollment targets and we met them. But in addition, we exceeded our enrollment targets this fall. So we are very happy about that.
Well, this past weekend I got a chance to see a bit of the enrollment at the game. There was a lot of school spirit for the first home opener. Talk to us about that a little bit.
Oh, the spirit was great. This was actually my first home game as the interim president, and I really didn't know what the spirit was going to be in the skybox, but it was great. The box was full, the food was wonderful, and there was more screaming and dancing in the skybox than there was, I think, out in the stands. We had a wonderful time on Saturday.
Definitely a tale of two halves, and we'll talk a little bit about that with that game, with excitement of scoring and you know, the first half to the second half. So I'm sure that you got a great treat for your first game. Speaking of in the stands, we all know that here traditionally at HBCUs, that's where a lot of the attention goes, in the stands. Talk about the band director and how exciting that was to hear the Blue Wind Marching Band.
Yes, we're very proud to have a new band director this fall. Jonathan Thompson joined us this summer, and the band sounds great. We had heard them at a picnic that we had on campus, and we had an evening of events in Fort Valley, the city, where the band performed. But they sounded even better on Saturday because everybody was there. They were marching and in step. And I was told that even better things to come.
Oh, exciting about that. Now, with the upcoming football season, is always a great time in Central Georgia and across the Peach State when we're talking football. Talk to us about how important the football program is to Fort Valley, even so much so that you were part of the commercial for ticket sales.
Yes, I've actually enjoyed making that commercial because I'm a Wildcat. There's no question. But football is important. It's something that everybody can rally around. And we are really looking for a wonderful season this year. We hope to have a winning season. But also, it's a chance for the families to get together with the students and the community to come to campus. It's always fun. But I think this year the level of excitement is even higher than in the past.
Okay. Now, in the early stages of your interim role, how have things been for you in your transition?
Things have really been going quite well. Needless to say, everyone on the campus has been supportive. People in the community have been supportive. The University System of Georgia has been supportive. I actually came to Fort Valley State just 1 year ago, and so far I really feel like I'm coming home. I'm home now. I'm enjoying my time at Fort Valley.
Okay, and what are some of the biggest surprises, I guess you would see, that people from the outside wouldn't necessarily know about Fort Valley, but the Blue and Gold is definitely a big family?
Yes, first of all, few people seem to know that we have so many acres of land that constitute the university, over 1,300 acres, and our famous ag program, people don't seem to know about it. We've got meat processing. We've got just so many things that are going on campus. Many of our majors are the majors that are going to lead innovation in the 21st century. So I think that we can get the word out about the wonderful things that are happening on our campus. That would be good. But also I think people don't know how much Fort Valley State contributes to the economic development of this region. Middle Georgia would not have the sustained industries that they have without Fort Valley State University. We bring people here, but we enrich the area.
Wow. Thank you very much for your time. A lot of great things going on here at the Fort Valley State University. We'll be back with more. Stay with us.
Every success story starts with a dream to learn, to challenge your perceptions and push the boundaries of what you can accomplish. Fort Valley State University offers more than 50 academic programs designed to meet your educational ambitions. And we provide the academic and financial support to turn dreams into reality. Turn dreaming into doing at Fort Valley State University. Learn more at fvsu.edu.
Fort Valley State U.
You've defended our country, fought to safeguard our dreams. Now it's time for you to pursue your dreams. Fort Valley State University is a designated military-friendly school providing specialized services for soldier scholars, including a dedicated support staff and fee waivers to qualified applicants. Choose a military-friendly school to turn your dream to reality. Apply to Fort Valley State University today. Learn more at fvsu.edu.
Fort Valley State U.
Welcome back, Wildcat fans. Lastly, we're going to wrap up the show talking with Coach Don Pittman about this week's big matchup with Clark. Coach, talk to us a little bit about the rivalry between that matchup always in the SIAC, though.
Oh, Clark has always been a very, very tough opponent, year in, year out. They have a very good coaching staff. It's a new coaching staff, a new head coach, Kelly, and I know he's been doing a good job of getting players in there. I think that Clark has one of the better quarterbacks in our conference, and it's going to be a task in slowing him down. He's a dual threat. He can run the ball, and he's even a better passer. So our defense is going to have to step the game up, and this will be the week for them to have a good showing.
Just talk about the series with last year's game with Clark and how we were able to fare, and just the differences, obviously, like you said, with the coaching staff. What can we expect from the blue and gold side to produce on this game?
You know, our offense has been very explosive, and I think right now they are beginning to gel, and I think week in and week out they're going to get better. And I know the sky's the limit for them, and I think that with the receiving core, we should have a great day along with the run game. So I think that offensively we're getting better. I think we're getting better on the special teams. We didn't have too many long yards returned this last game, and then we did get the ball back to the 40-yard line on kickoff return. So we're getting better on special teams, better on offense, and we're waiting for the defense to come on because we hang our hat on our defense. Dirty Blue, I think, going to be very good, and this will be the week for them to show that.
Okay, and the agenda for this weekend, what does that look like?
Well, it's a 2:00 game, so I'll be loading the bus about 7 o'clock on Saturday morning, and we'll stop in Jonesboro and have a pregame meal there, and we'll start taping at 12:45 at Clark, and the game started at 2. So we're looking forward to it.
Very good. Very good. Well, safe travels, Coach. We're looking forward to the second matchup in conference play with the Fort Valley State Wildcats on the road in Atlanta playing Clark Atlanta. The Panthers. It should be a good one. Well, that's it for this week's show. Thank you for joining us. Stay with us, and we'll see you next week. Go Blue and Gold.